The Rock of the World. The Failed Seduction. I'd been on 3 dates with Mary Jane. We were both in our 20s. I was, alas, still a virgin in grad school with my own flat. 3 dates with a woman, though. This was new territory, especially since Mary Jane was neither engaged, gay, or a vulture. I was in deep. Friends at work, even family, thought Mary Jane celebrating our birthdays would be a good time to, quote, go deep. I bought the biggest box of condoms from CVS, and I was there before once. I poured potpourri in a beer stein, shopped for ingredients for tortellini alfredo with ham and peas. I vacuumed, dusted, changed sheets, probably for the first time, fluffed pillows, hung up clothes, alphabetized CDs, bookshelves, and vinyl, gyrated to loud music for the, quote, love groove. The landlord downstairs called to turn it down. I iced a baked cake. Were candles and flowers on the table? Aye, mates. Up until then, we had just kissed goodnight. I mean, like great kisses. Like the best kisses of my life. Disney's Jungle Book was cued for after-dinner cuddling. What women could resist Jungle Book? The doorbell rang. Mary Jane's smile and auburn hair filled the small window. She had a plant for me while I gave her a Phillies hat. Our second date, please recall, was at Veterans Stadium. Rest its demolished soul. The evening was awesome, until it was not. Hoping she would think me as a big, lovable, goofy bear, I made awkward moves. Mary Jane stood up. She felt uncomfortable, needed to leave. What? I was shocked. The date went from the light in the greatest night of my life to the darkest night of forever nights of eternal hell. I pled my case. What was I promising? I didn't know, but I knew my feelings. Were they strong enough to remain celibate for longer? How long? Again, I was 25, rather old, but not 40-year-old virgin funny old, but not a shame that really ashamed me. I had opportunities, sure, but with no one I loved. As she left, I said, "You forgot your hat. You can keep it." Oh boy. I followed her. As she drove away in her lime green Toyota Tercel, I fell to my knees in the parking lot and pleaded to the gods in a drama king apostrophe that would have won an Oscar for the most overdramatic, pathetic actor of all time. The drugstore owner landlord was closing up. He looked at me. I need a new tenant, he must have thought. This guy doesn't seem stable. The pleading and the apologies. I left a message. I was a jerk. I'm sorry. The next day I called. We talked. I made an argument about needing to try on the shoe before buying. I know my shoe size. She hung up the phone. I called again. I'm really a jerk. I'm so sorry. But I continued a literary approach like Marvel's to his coy mistress. We may be dead tomorrow, so why not gather ye orgasms while ye may? She hung up. Devastated, I took a 2-hour walk to talk to my gods, Byron, Keats, and Shelley. What should I do? Then my great buddy Dan called, after I called someone sensible and alive for better advice. Listen, he said, you've been crawling through a desert for years, wanting a woman to love. You find her, and she likes you. You find an oasis, and yet you complain about no air conditioning. Oh, did ye gods strike with the logic of the heavens? Of course. He, Dan, not the gods, was right. Later, I called Mary Jane. I was calm, determined not to be a jerk, and I meant that. Could we start again, please? No sex. Let's just get to know each other, talk, have fun being together. That sounded better. So I said, how about a picnic at Ridley Creek Park? The make-up picnic. A week later, I skipped class in rhetoric because I already thought I was Cicero. Mary Jane packed lunch. Her sandwiches were still frozen. She would make sandwiches on Sunday and freeze the sandwiches for the week. She brought drinks, some type of seltzer, and carrots and some chips. It was fun. For hours we lounged on the blanket, talking and laughing. I garnered energy to concentrate on her. I started listening. What? Since it's hard to listen while Eros rages, I kept that god locked in the bathroom. On that day, we took a long walk along Ridley Creek. It was beautiful. Late April, spring busting out all over. A small boulder stood out in the rushing, rippling, but shallow creek. I helped Mary Jane to cross. We sat listening and talking, feeling the rush of life making new life around us. Unlike our birthdays, this date was a success. I confessed many only wanted to be my friend, other girls. And Mary Jane said she couldn't just be friends with me. She was just too attracted to me. The word love had not yet been mentioned. One later date ended at midnight. I went home, but I arrived at her flat at 7 in the morning with my stuffed monkey and bagels, fresh bagels. If I didn't stay over, at least my wingman monkey could. When I told her I loved her, she said, "That was nice to hear." Okay, that's nice. By then, we had agreed to be, quote, mutually exclusive. Those were my words. But what did that mean? Well, I don't see anyone. I wasn't anyway. And you don't. She had been on several bad dates. And we worked to make this real, a lifelong thing. I meant it. She agreed. It wasn't some paradise by the dashboard light thing. A week later, I stayed late to meet her mother and stepfather. They were coming to visit her brother Jack, graduating in Maryland. She walked me down her Hitchcock horror staircase. As I stood by the door, ready to leave, she kissed me, like no other kiss, and declared, "I love you." The night before I asked her to marry me, I was showing off the ring. Everyone knew, except Mary Jane. I Do, Part 2. We returned to Ridley Creek, had lunch, as before, this time Wawa subs. I was nervous. The ring was hidden in my black backpack, but a small hole was forming. Did I lose the ring? Did I lose it? But I didn't. Hiking along the creek and camping on the rock, I took out the ring, kneeled on the sun-ripened boulder, balancing myself. You would make me the happiest man in the world if you said yes to marrying me. She cried, kissed me, hugged me. I placed the ring on her finger, and later she asked, "Did I say yes? I said yes, right? Yes. I said yes, you did." But she didn't need to. Actions, they say. We met on April 2nd. I proposed to her on September 11th, 1994, that same year. And we were married on June 10th, 1995. And now it's 2024. We have 2 daughters, Catherine, 27, Sarah, 23. That rock became our mythic place. I often think of that rock. Earlier in our courtship, after that first picnic, I wrote sonnets. And one sonnet was called about the rock. It was called To Ridley Creek. The poem made the rock integral to our story. I often think of that rock. Earlier in our courtship, after that first picnic, I wrote 3 sonnets, and one sonnet was about that rock, called Ode to Ridley Creek. The poem made the rock integral to our narrative, our story, our mythos. The poems hang in our bathroom, as you know, girls. We used daisies for party favors at the wedding. My mother-in-law's house had daisies from those seeds. On the banks of the creek, we planted the seeds by the rock. Would the daisies get enough sun? Daisies are sun worshippers like me, and in every relationship, they need the light of truth. My garden is now full of daisies. We took baby Catherine to the rock. Mary Jane, knowing I loved medieval literature, bought me a sword from Toledo, Spain. The return to the rock of the world. We returned to the rock. I carry the sword openly. It's not a path often used, and that's why I love the location. It's secret. The creek is used mostly by those who fish, and I was not arrested for lunacy. She took photos. In one, I sat naked, Buddha-like. I was not arrested for indecent exposure. Again, I'm a drama king. Now, I just have the sword and my wife and a lifetime of memories of joyous times, adventures, raising children, moving houses, and changing jobs, and fighting an illness and melanoma, and where to find comfort and rest. The rock is both a literal place and a metaphysical place. It's what we carry, where we retreat when we need each other. It's still our place. Just like cuddling on the sofa or messing around in the love loft, you stick with me, Mary Jane said, and you'll enjoy a lifetime of great lovin'. She wasn't wrong. Not wrong at all. And there is another half century left for new adventures, I hope, pray, for love and laughs. Sometimes it just takes patience, a willingness to learn, to listen. Creating a narrative that keeps the family tied helps keep the family together and the marriage. The best thing you can do for your children is to have a marriage that transcends the daily routines, ruts, and squabbles. Make each other essential, as if they are indeed the rock of the world.